I need to make sure I'm live. Am I really live? Or just does it say I'm live? I want the rose to be in the peripheral view as always. Yep, I do. I do. I'm gonna go make sure it's live. Because if I'm gonna do hair live stream because I'm finally in the mood to do it, it needs to be live. Yeah, but I just always do whatever I want. I take as many breaks as I want. I leave whenever I want. Like that's just how I live stream. I don't do it tight. I just do it like very free flowing. So I'm like it's live. It's not like meant to always impress. It's meant to make me happy. That's it. That's the whole point of a live stream. Like I just do what I want. I come and go as I please. If I'm not here, you have to keep watching until I come back. That's just how it goes. That's how my live streams roll. Like you have to just sit there waiting for me. Like literally, that's just the way I live stream. I am not gonna do like I know there's a way to like set things up if you want to leave to go do something. I'm like, nope. You can just look at the wall. That's what I've always done with people that watch my live streams. I'm like, yep. I'm just kidding though. You don't have to stay. I don't know. I just wanted to make sure it was working, honestly, in the other room. Because I was thinking about live streaming in the other room, but I hate, like, brushing my hair in the other room because, I don't know, I just want to be near the sink so I can put my brush under water. So on Instagram, I said lately I haven't been compelled to share hair content. It's not that I don't want to share hair content, because I still think my hair looks beautiful and all. I don't know. I just haven't been in the mood. Because, honestly, I'm more in the mood to take hair pictures today. I really am. Because I still love, like, the way my hair looks. And this sundress has kind of grown on me, too. Because at first when I put it on, I felt like it wasn't super stretchy. But then it's kind of stretched out. And now I have, like, dresses that I kind of like to wear just around the house. Because I feel like they're a little bit too, I don't know, like they are just a little bit too low cut in places. Like I don't want to wear them all the time. But I have like, I just decided certain ones, like you have to wear something over them. And I just like it when I don't have to worry about it. And I'm just like, they can just be like this. Some people are like, but it's not a big deal. I don't know. I just never want to worry about like what other people think, like, oh my gosh, like it might be too low cut here and there. I just, to save myself the headache from that, you know? I know a lot of people don't think about stuff like that nowadays, but I guess I still kind of do, because there are people that still think that way, okay? And I'm not like a super, okay, this is interesting, because I'm not like a super modest dresser. Like I don't wear like provocative clothing, but I don't dress super modestly either. But I think you do have to have some like cognizance about modesty in certain situations, because you can't just wear, well, you can't. I know, like, I'm glad that certain things are more free with fashion in 2023, but I feel like sometimes people are going to be like, oh, but that doesn't really matter what the older generation thinks. But sometimes you're in situations where you're around, like, people that grew up in a different time period where, so it's just good to be mindful of these things and not to, like, okay, like, let me give you examples. Like, I think crop tops are fine. I don't have a problem with crop top. I don't usually personally wear them in public because it's just not my style. Like, I'll wear them under something. But I do think if you go to, like, certain venues, like public places that you're going to be at for extended periods of time, I feel like as a woman sometimes, or even as a man, like, it's better to be a little bit more covered than less. Just because you're going to be around other people that might not feel as comfortable. I know people are going to say, but I don't dress for other people. I dress for myself. And yes, you should dress for yourself. But I think being a little bit more modest in public scenarios is just respectful. It just is. And also, like, if you're going to class or something, maybe I'm old school, and even if it's university, I just think you're taking classes for your future career. Like, I know some people don't really believe in dressing up for their class, but I also think that wearing micro shorts and a crop top might not be the greatest idea, because don't you want to, like, focus on your studies and be comfortable? And I get that kind of stuff might be comfortable, like, on your days off or at the beach, but I just feel like it just doesn't seem like in class, like, with air conditioning blasting. But hey, I hate air conditioning. I am not an air conditioning fan. It just seems like people would be uncomfortable. Like, I think dresses are more comfortable because they just cover a little bit more. So it's like, sometimes I've worn a crop top around the house, but I'm just not going to wear that out in certain settings because I'm still mindful of maybe not everybody would feel comfortable seeing me wear that. You know, I think on your own time you can wear whatever you want, but I just think in day-to-day life when you're in a more public setting, it's good to be mindful. This is not trying to shame women or men, because I just think maybe being a little bit more modest in the way we dress in general, like in public settings, is just better for us overall, because we're interacting with many different kinds of people. And I know, like in California in 2023, people are like, but those rules don't apply anymore. But a good rule of thumb is, if it wasn't really in the school dress code when you were a kid, maybe it's not the best thing to wear to a public setting where you're going to be for an extended amount of time, you know? That's just kind of my thought on fashion. Like in general, in public settings, wear whatever you like on your free time. But I just feel like when you're in school as a kid, or even as an adult in college, or just like even when you're going to the grocery store, I feel like maybe a little bit more clothing in those situations. And this is not to shame anybody. I don't care what people wear. You can wear whatever you want. I just think it's good because it just makes you feel more comfortable. And I just don't think that's, this is my opinion, and maybe I'm really old school. You do not have to agree with me. I just don't think crop tops and micro shorts and men's like saggy baggy pants showing their underwear is super appropriate in a setting where there's many types of people around. It's not the club. Like, I just think we need to be more mindful of these things. Like, if you're wearing a bikini, put something over it. You don't need to wear your bikini inside the store. I know things have changed now and people are just more like, I can wear whatever I want. But sometimes you just have to be mindful of like where you're at. And I know some people are like, but it doesn't matter if some people that are more conservative don't like that. I'm going to wear what I want. But I feel like in general, it just makes your interactions a lot easier. And I'm not saying that you have to cater to people, but I think just covering up a little bit more in social situations in general when it's not on your own time is better for you. It just is, and it's better for other people, because it's just like, I don't know if people need to be exposing that much skin when they're going grocery shopping. But that's just my opinion. Like, I know some people want to do that, and whatever, you want to do that. I guess because everybody loves air conditioning and everybody loves the frozen aisle and everybody just loves cold weather, and a lot of people are just oblivious to people staring. I just feel like, but I'm kind of old school, I think, when I think about that. Maybe this is an old-fashioned way of thinking. I think most people nowadays wouldn't care, and I don't care what people wear, and I'm not looking to see what people wear, but just for my own like comfort level, I do these things for myself. So I love dresses like this that are kind of like off the shoulder. I think they're cute, but I might wear them maybe even like if I were to wear this at the grocery store, I'd definitely pull it up like this. I wouldn't have it down off my shoulders, you know. I don't know. On my own time, doing a hair channel, I don't care what I wear, because I have no problem like showing some stuff, but I'm just not super like showing a lot of stuff. It's just not my style. And I know some people call it modest. Maybe it is modest. I think it's just maybe being aware. I don't know. Like just being more aware of like, and it's also more like my comfort level. I just don't feel comfortable like wearing super tight things and wearing things that show a lot. Sometimes I have in the past, but in general, if you notice, I don't really do that. I don't know. I had some people that got upset with me because, like, obviously I wear dresses. Like, that's kind of my style. And I guess, without knowing, I was told that's conservative, that's religious. I'm spiritual, but I'm not, like, exactly where people are trying to peg me. Like, I've always been pegged into a certain category because of my just proclivity to dress this way, which is just something that I decided on my own when I was young, that I was drawn to wearing dresses. It's just something that's always, like, since I was like 4 years old, this is how I wanted to dress. I just had this very innate sense from the age of 4, I want to wear dresses. I deviated from it for a little bit when I was in college because people kept telling me I shouldn't wear dresses so much and I should wear pants more, be more casual, but and into my early 20s, but I just remember that being a time period that I wasn't super happy because I didn't feel like I was being my authentic self completely. And that was also a time when I experimented with shorter hairstyles, which I did go back to shorter hairstyles, like last year just because of my little hair mishap. But as you can see, I am growing my hair back. So I guess, I don't know, without knowing it, without realizing it, I guess I've just always been drawn to what is considered, an old-fashioned idea of femininity. But it wasn't like I attached a certain, I'm not associated exactly with the groups of people that expose that. It also makes me think, if I'm not, maybe society's making a big boo-boo trying to put everybody in a box. Do you see what I'm saying? Maybe we need to stop categorizing people, because people love to put you in a category, right? They love to put you in a box, and they say, this is your box, and if you do X, Y, and Z, this is you. But, I think people are more fluid than that. I don't think that we're just in this one little box that they say we're in. I don't know. Those are just my thoughts on that. But in general, I guess I have more of what you call a modest attire. I don't know. I guess the way I dress is considered more modest, maybe. I guess that's just what it is. I love dresses. I just love floral dresses. I love polka dot dresses. I guess that's what's considered too conservative in our society. Although I just don't consider that conservative. I was reading a few things about how Americans dress, and this is another thought that I have. Maybe Americans are just too casual. Because I even experienced this one day when I wore a couple bracelets and a dress, and I went to Starbucks. These two guys, this guy and this woman, said, "Oh, she's fancy." And I thought, that is so rude. You think, okay, you want to do it. I don't want to stereotype Americans, and I know not all Americans dress this way, but you know how people say you can spot the Americans on trips in Europe, but maybe they're not entirely wrong. Because Americans do love casual style. If you wear dresses all the time, there are some people that wear dresses all the time who love to wear dresses and don't just like to wear jeans and a t-shirt. But you'll get a lot of hate just in general, if even an everyday occurrence, people will tell you, you're too dressed up. And I'm like, this is my style, and I should not have to fit how I dress because you want to dress okay, you want to wear shorts and a t-shirt, that's on you. You can wear whatever you want. I'm not your mother, and I'm not dressing you. And you can wear as casual thing as you want. But this is the thing I've noticed about Americans. They would always kind of be oh, in the past, people had uniforms. They had to dress a certain way. There was a certain ethnic dress in countries. You literally hear, Americans would say things like this growing up. Oh, we have so many options as Americans. Where people in Western countries, we just have all these options. But at the end of the day, if you didn't wear jeans and a t-shirt, people came down on you like a ton of bricks. I think it's changing a little bit. The only good thing about more acceptance of different styles and fashion is that people are more accepting if you just dress how you like. But all the hate I've gotten on my life just because I don't want to just wear the standard. And when you think about it, I feel jeans and a t-shirt's kind of a uniform. Yeah, there might be different designs on the t-shirt, but it's kind of if you don't dress this casual sort of way. And even my own mother, she kind of was into that too. My mom does not dress like me. When I say that the way I dress was very innate within me, nobody in my family supported it, really. Not to the extent that I wanted to wear it. It was a big flippin' deal. For some reason, it triggered people to no end in the 1980s. A young girl wanting to wear a dress and not jeans and a t-shirt every day. That was, triggering. There were teachers that didn't like it. There was my mom that like would always challenge me on it. There were like my grandma who thought that I should wear jeans. And it was a challenge point. And I was like, no, this is what I want to wear. And I always felt very like just wanting that. So, yeah, I just wore what I wanted, and I didn't feel like I had to dress a certain way to make other people happy. You know? Because I feel like, just sometimes I feel like, I don't know, I guess I have a lot of opinions about fashion. I don't care what people want to wear. I'm not anybody's mother, but I know what I like to wear, and I just like to wear things that make me feel happy. And if I wear dresses, I don't know why it's hurting somebody. People really don't like that. People want you to dress a certain way. I love dresses because they're more fluid, like they flow. They're more comfortable, they're more flowy. In the summertime, a dress is actually cooler than shorts. And I think people think, oh, shorts are so cooling. But I almost think maybe I'm more heat tolerant because, like, well, I do wear, like, slip shorts under my dresses, but I just think dress is more cooling because, like, the air flows, you know, more. And, like, Bedouin people, desert people, they wore robes. And I'm not saying a dress is exactly like a robe, but a dress is more flowy than, like, shorts and a t-shirt, which are just kind of there. And I feel like just in a way, like, having a little bit more skin covered in the summertime is good, and it will keep you cooler, which is counterintuitive to what a lot of people think, but for me that works. That's just how I like to dress. And then in the wintertime you can layer it and put leggings underneath. You know? I'm back, I'm back like a chicken, back. Okay, so a lot of people would always be like, oh, if you have dark hair, you need to wear light colored outfits. Your hair will show up more. Don't wear black. I used to get so upset if you wore a dark color, because your hair didn't show up more. And if you have a light colored hair, you're supposed to wear a dark color. I don't know. What color are the light colored hair people supposed to wear? I don't know. I just always thought that was so funny. But yeah, your hair does show up more. But it's like all these rules. And then the hair fetish dudes act like they own you or something, like they're your owner. And I'm like, no, this is a hair channel. I'm the owner of me and this channel, not you. You know, it's not like we're not in a relationship. I'm not in a relationship with some randos that come to my hair channel and they think they can tell me whatever, whenever. I'm like, no, this is a hair channel. We just talk about hair, and I brush my hair, and we talk about whenever. It's a very free format. So I've been kind of going down the rabbit hole of different hair products, and I don't know. I've never wanted to put gel in my hair really because I don't like the way really heavy products feel in my hair. But I have been curious sometimes to maybe do like the edges of my hair with gel sometimes, just a thought. But then I don't want to have to wash my hair more. So that's another reason I've never really done gel, because I feel like if you did put a lot of gel in your hair, I feel like you'll have to wash your hair more frequently. It seems like more frequent hair washing becomes kind of a priority for women that have to style their hair that way, unless, I don't know how, because, and I just feel like too, like I don't like the idea of a lot of gel in my hair, because I just feel like that's not super healthy for the scalp of your hair. Like but I could be wrong. Maybe some people it is healthy. Like, I don't know. Like, I can't really say what products are good for other people. I just know for me, for a long time I was loving like the Aussie detangling spray, but maybe I could try it again. But I just felt like when I put it in my hair, it just felt kind of sticky. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's not sticky. Maybe it doesn't make my hair sticky. But it just felt like when I spray it in my hair, I haven't used it for a few weeks, but I just felt like a few weeks ago when I was using it, I just felt like my hair felt sticky. So maybe I'm wrong, maybe not. Maybe it doesn't make your hair sticky, but it just kind of felt like, I don't know. I feel like, and this one's a leave-in conditioner, but it's the same with the detangling spray. I just felt like it kind of was making my hair sticky. That's kind of how I felt. Hair brushing, so I always walk away. Like if I'm taking hair out of my brush or something, I'm like, oh, I need to do it right now, get it done, out of the way. I didn't go anywhere today. It's amazing. It's the last few weeks I've been going somewhere every day, and that's kind of like against my homebodiness. This homebody loves to have days where I don't go anywhere and I don't do anything.com. Well, I do things, but I don't have to leave the house because I feel like, okay, there's a lot of people that say, oh, you need to volunteer. You need to have a day to yourself. You need to do this. You need to go to a movie. And, okay, I'm going to kind of say I don't think volunteer work is necessary to be a good human being. Like, what could you just do in your daily life for people in your community that could help people out? I don't think you need to volunteer through an organization to help others. My dad just used to buy lunch for homeless people. Why can't you just do that? Like, why does it have to be through an organization? Like, look, if doing things through an organization makes you feel better, do it that way. But I just think if somebody's working a lot of hours, well, first off, somebody on Facebook that's posting that somebody needs to spend all these different days doing these things, most likely they're somebody who has a lot of free time on their hands. So maybe for them, like, volunteering through an organization is a great use of their time. But I just think for anybody who is working more, I just don't feel like you need to volunteer via an organization to do, like, acts of kindness. Unless you're just trying to accumulate social credit, like, make it seem impressive to other people. But even the New Testament said that you do acts of kindness where you will not be seen, where you just do it for the greater good. It's not to, like, rack up a point. Because I'm not, like, there are good volunteer organizations, don't get me wrong, but I just notice people who do things because they want to do things to help somebody just because they want to. It feels more legit to me. That's just always been my view on, I don't think you need to be in a volunteer organization to help people. Like, why don't you just help your neighbor? Like, people are not super neighborly nowadays. I've noticed that. That's another thing. Like, would you offer to give your neighbor a cup of sugar if they asked? You probably wouldn't open the door. I know nowadays people just aren't neighborly like that. I mean, They kind of are where I live still a little bit. We still have a little bit of that, but a lot of people, they don't know their neighbors. They don't talk to their neighbors. They don't even know the name of their neighbors. Like, I don't know the name of all my neighbors, but people do say hi to each other and whatnot. So, you know, and if they ask me for sugar, I'd give them sugar. Although, I don't think I have that much sugar in my house because I haven't bought sugar again for a while. I bought it a while back. Gave my mom some sugar because I wasn't baking enough. I have some maple syrup in my fridge. I need to start cooking more again, honestly. I love to cook, but I just got in this rut where I haven't been food prepping. It's been my food prepping rut, and I need to get back into doing food prep. You're never hungry again? That's amazing. If I was never hungry again, I could do a lot of stuff. I wish. Like, how do you never be hungry again? Like, how do you do it? Just want to know. That could save a lot of time if I was never hungry again. I could save a lot of time. I could do a lot of stuff. Because even though I like food prep, lately I haven't been doing food prep just because, well, first off, you should definitely do food prep because it's so much healthier for you, and I believe in that 100%. I don't have a good reason for why I haven't been doing food prep. This lemon water is delicious, by the way. My side swoops out so easily, but I'm like, oh no. My side is really wanting to start curling up more and more and more. It's like we want to curl up. It's because I put water in my hair. Put my hair in 2 braids without it being super harsh on my hair, like the 2 braid style. Without it being super pulley. Non-tuggy elements in my hair. I kind of do like this dress. Like at first I didn't love it, but I mean it's cute. It's cute, don't get me wrong. But you kind of have to put on dresses like that, this, and let them stretch out a bit. I feel like so they conform to your body a bit more. And they're cute. Once you get more acclimated to wearing it, it's very cute and fun. That I can use for parting my hair. I mean, I have a rat tail comb that I purchased a while back that was supposed to be for that purpose. And I'm like, I need to dig down there and find you, misters. Because that was your one little job, was to be a rat tail comb. Qu'est-ce que c'est? Je suis allée. Qu'est-ce que c'est? Well, you're Very welcome, Renard. I felt like going live. I just had to build myself back up to it, you know? In the old days, I used to just go live a lot, and I just was like, I just felt more, I don't know, like, I felt like, I guess I need to get that feeling back, because I do like going live. I do. It's fun. It's really fun to go live. I love it. I love going live with hair content, but I just wanted to have that fun, cheery feeling again, I guess, when I went live. You know, I wanted it to be fun. But I want everything to be more, like, stress-free in my life, I think, too. I think that's another thing that I need to work on for myself. It's just a beautiful, stress-free life. Like, I don't want to be stressed out about anything, ever. Ever, sorry. I'm just not into stress. Stress can kick to the curb, you know? Stress does nothing for us. It serves us not. You know what I'm saying? We should live stress-free lives. All that stress, is it worth it? I know, my French is so limited. I wish I could parler français, but it's so little. I should study languages, but alas, I don't really study languages. I think, though, I just kind of like it when I do have the braids and more that structured hairstyle. I say I don't want it, but I do want it because it makes it easier. I just find, like, if you're gonna do braids, I like the structure because, for me, it makes it easier. Out of the braid. Oh, that's a big part out. thinking, like, have you ever thought in the past where you're like, I need an apology, like a sky high apology for somebody, from some, like, sometimes I feel like sometimes you're like, I feel like I deserve an apology. Don't ever feel that way about anything, because I thought, you know what, honestly, I don't. Like, if you ever feel like there's a time when you want someone to apologize for something, just don't, because this is what I've learned in life. It's just better to move on, because if the person wanted to apologize for something, they would have done it. And I feel like apologies don't mean anything. I know people think that they do, but I personally think it's better to just move on and try to forget about it. Because even if somebody apologizes for something where you felt like, gee, like, that wasn't very nice, or I feel like you kind of did this and that, I don't feel like it's authentic. Like, if you have to ask somebody to apologize for something they did, plus it doesn't take away from the fact that at the time, I'm not saying people are perfect, but if at the time somebody did something that kind of just made you feel bad or discredit you, you just have to know they were okay with that, because they were okay with however they operate. And I honestly don't feel like wanting apologies. I know we live in a society where people are like, well, they should apologize for this and that. I honestly feel like even if you are on social media, because I feel like we're at the point in 2023 where social media is becoming a big part of life and how people interact with each other. I think just don't follow people that offend you. Like, if somebody says something or does something, or like if somebody starts posting like content that doesn't really resonate with me, I just don't watch it. Like, I don't need them to apologize to me. Apparently they felt okay when they posted those things or they did those things. So it could be like in real life or online, digitally. I think you should just follow people that make you feel good about yourself, and where you make them feel good about themselves. Like, that's just kind of, and same with daily interaction. Okay, so this is how I summarize it. Focus on your own plate, your own lane, and your own life. I just think that right now, like, I just tell myself, plate, lane, life. What's on my plate, what's in my lane, and what's in my life. Everything else is extraneous and really doesn't impact me. Like, if somebody says or does something that seems like kind of rude to me, I want to do the more introverted thing, which I also think is more peaceful, because I know we live in a very confrontational culture where people are like, I want an apology, I don't like how you did this, I don't like how you do that. Let's just say, like, you were in a group of people and somebody said something that you didn't like. There is a better approach. I know it's not seen as strong and it's not seen as standing up for yourself in our more extroverted culture, or like needing to like prove yourself, but honestly, you're proving yourself more to you than them, because your peace is sacred. And sometimes your peace is just so sacred that, like, yeah, oh, okay, I didn't like that. So you get up. Like, let's say a group of people, or they're talking about something. You leave the group. You go outside and you go for a walk and you look at the trees and you admire the sky. And you don't even have to explain to the people in the group, like, later, if they're like, well, why did you leave? You don't have to explain it to them, like, because, look, this is just my thought. If people do things, like, they're, most of the time, I know there's misunderstandings, but in general, when people do things, they're pretty okay. And we live in a society, well, especially in more Western society, where we're taught to be very, very assertive and very confident. So people are very confident in the things they're doing. Like, they're not second guessing themselves. In fact, they act. Have you heard about the phrase, which I really do not like, and I think it's just so rude, and I think it's a bad phrase. This is my opinion. Like, the people are like, walk in and act like you own the room. I've never admired people who do that. And I think that's a really bad advice, because I know like some like confidence coaches will tell people like to act like you own the room. It just seems presumptuous. It's like, you don't own that room. Nobody owns a room unless it's their own house. So like if you go to a party and you walk in and act like you own the room, I don't know. I feel like it's going to make you less susceptible to maybe considering other people's thoughts and feelings. You can do that. You can walk in and own any room. But yeah, it's not going to make you the most considerate person on the planet. And I just think sometimes you have to walk away. Like, anytime someone says something that you don't like, you don't have to confront them. You don't have to talk to them about it. You don't have to ask why they did it, because in their heart of hearts, they're kind of okay with that. Or I know there's misunderstandings. I get that there's misunderstandings, but sometimes I'm just like, when you're focusing on your own plate, your own lane, your own life, we don't have time for that. We just don't. Like, we're not going to spend our time looking on social media for things that offend us. We're going to focus on our own channel or on watching people's channels with content that more aligns with us. We're not going to give our time to current events that's going to rile us up. We're not going to give our time to social situations that make us feel gross. Like, we just don't. Like, there are certain situations where, yeah, you kind of have to be in a group dynamic, but even then, you just go quiet on your Western front and back end. Like, when I mean quiet on your Western front and back end, you minimize what you say. You minimize the interaction. And yes, this is a very introverted perspective, and this is not going to win you brownie points with the more assertive culture, but I don't know. As an introverted person, I don't feel like I get stimulation from that anyway. That doesn't make me feel like, oh, wow, I proved myself by saying something to somebody. No, I just feel like it continues to cycle. And if I want to start focusing on my own plate, my own lane, and my own life, how am I going to do those things when I'm constantly focusing on somebody else's plate, lane, and life? Yes, your own plate, your own lane, your own life. I know that's counterintuitive to some people, like, but nobody's an island. Maybe we should all be more like islands. I'm not saying that we can't, like, interact and get along, but I just don't want friction in my life. I don't get off on friction in my life. I don't enjoy friction. So even if something is like, gee, I felt like that was rude, I deserve an apology, I'm like, actually, no, I don't want it. Because it wouldn't be authentic anyway. It would never be authentic. Because if you want something that someone didn't think, like, okay, so this is another thing too. A lot of people always say it's easier to ask for forgiveness than to ask for permission. And you have to keep that in mind. And I used to always hear teachers say that. And they said that was the way that they would get around doing content that might violate the California standard or their principles, something that their principles specify. That was how they got around, like, a certain, like, policy, which I thought was dumb. Like, are you kidding me? You're just going to break the rule and then you're going to go ask for forgiveness later? So you knew that you were doing something you weren't supposed to do. Like, they were always like, yeah, like, oh, we are going to teach about something that's not in the content standard. Like, there were literally teachers that said this back out in the desert. But because they wanted to do a fun activity that wasn't really exactly allowed, because, you know, back in the days, teachers used to do whatever they wanted. I think education was more fun back then, but with content standards, you can't just have a party whenever. You can't just, like, do free time whenever. Like, I mean, I do think kids learn more in a less structured environment in some ways. I don't think standards are necessarily making education better, honestly. Like, but it was always funny because these teachers and people in other professions, or just people in general, they're gonna do what they want. So even if they were like to apologize for something or say sorry for something, that doesn't take away that they're gonna continue to be who they are. And if a person is a certain way, they're not on your plate, and they're not in your life, and they're not in your lane. So if you're focusing on your own plate, your own life, and your own lane, you have to focus on the people that will share the lane with you, share the plate with you, and share the life with you. You can't be offended by everything all the time. I mean, I'm not saying you'll never be offended again, but I want to find ways in my life to be less offended by things that don't like congeal with me, by just spending less time focusing on anything that just doesn't feel, that doesn't serve me. You know, if you don't serve me, like if it's a misalignment and we're not on the same plate lane of life, I just don't want to give energy, time, anything to that. Like, and I think it just makes life a lot easier. It makes life so much more peaceful, you know? You will be at more peace with life and yourself when you stop worrying about what everybody else is doing and you start focusing on what you want to do. And some people might be like, why is she so introverted? Why does she just like want to be by herself? Why does she, like, she might be polite to people, but she doesn't seem like too bothered? Because her peace is more important to her than trying to, you know, please other people, or trying to be in situations that you, like, honestly, at the end of the day, I think what I'm saying applies to people that are introverted. Extroverted people, they get stimulation out of, like, kind of questioning each other, and they like that sort of thing. They really do. They love that sort of thing. But you kind of know you're a more introverted person when you're like, oh, that's draining. That doesn't feel good to me. So I'm always going to be more of an introverted person. End of the story. That is the end of that story. Like, I just don't have time anymore for things that don't serve me, that don't make me happy, that don't augment my life and make me feel peaceful in a certain way. So this is my thought. It doesn't matter why. Your peace is sacred. Pursue your peace, pursue your happiness over all other things. And you know, I told somebody that once in a short, I said, you know, you should focus on being happy and not what society wants. And somebody's like, but that's not right. You should care about society. Well, I hate to say this, and it's not, I feel like you're actually a better person in society and you treat other people with more respect when you're focusing on yourself and people that align with you, because you're not out doing harm to other people. And a lot of people that pretend that they care about people in society are willing to do controversial harm or say things that cause like emotional trauma. And if you're using your platform to cause, like, to me, I feel like that's irresponsible. Like, even if you claim to be an empathetic person, if you're using your platform to like kind of cause havoc or to make people feel like not at peace, that just doesn't feel okay with me. Like, I don't like that. I don't like that, you know? It's the same as like in-person relationships. If you are saying and doing things to try and make somebody else feel invalidated or not as good about themselves in some way, or you're just like, I don't care, it's not healthy. That's not what I'm about. Like, I just don't agree with that way of being or thinking. So I feel like if you do care about other people, you're not going to do those things, you know? You're going to build other people up. And maybe introverted people do it better. Not people that claim to be social butterflies. You know, sometimes I've thought that. Like, the people who are more chill and focused on themselves, they're more focused on themselves. They're not focused on, like, saying controversial things. Because we do live in a controversy-driven society, and that's one thing that has not changed. Like, people are like, social media has changed everything. But when you think about it, and you look at the news headlines from, like, let's say 30 years ago, were news headlines really better, or were they, like, there to sell a paper? Like, did you have a lot of fuzzy, good, feel-good stories? Did you have stories, like, about, like, community, camaraderie, like, people actually trying to make a difference in a good way on the front page? No, you had, like, doom and gloom stuff. Like, you're not going to have a positive headline on the front page of a paper. And as a kid, I used to love current events. I thought current events are so great. I want to know about the world. I want to know what's happening in the world. But then I started to realize you can learn more about what's happening in the world by reading history and first-hand accounts than just gawking at a headline that was written for controversy. And even though people are in social media more, it's kind of the same thing. Like, if everything that they're doing is just to cause, like, some sort of controversy or, like, some new, like, I don't know, drama, you can excuse yourself from that. Just like you could get up, like, if you were in a group dynamic where somebody said something that was hurtful and you know that they don't care, you just get up, you walk outside, and you go for a walk and you look at the trees. I've done that before. Do people like it when you do that? No. Some people get mad. Like, they're triggered because you left. Leaving. Just, it really triggers people. I don't know why. Because you don't want to sit there and just, like, take it. And a lot of these people know, like, oh, well, a lot of people are just going to go along with whatever we say. Because nobody's going to question us, but if somebody just doesn't confront you and they walk away, sometimes that triggers those more confrontational people more than if you were to, like, sit there and question them. You just didn't want anything to do with it, and they don't like it. But I feel like that's the solution. You don't want anything to do with things that don't serve you. Lane life. Focus on your own plate. Focus on your own lane. Focus on your own life. Your life is more valuable to you. Your peace is more valuable to you. Like, look, I love having long hair. There's a lot of women that don't want other women to have long hair. That has nothing to do with me anymore. I used to feel like in the past when I was younger, like, oh, like, why do they feel comfortable saying those things? I'm just like, now I say to myself, why did they feel comfortable saying those things? Why weren't they focused on their own plate, life and lane? You know why? Because that would require them to look within themselves to find something that would put them more at peace and not talking about other people or looking at other people or gawking at other people or being on social media to cause friction with other people. Like, I don't like friction. How about we stop? Just, this is my thought. We stop giving validation to accounts that cause friction. Like, you know, all the drama accounts. They can't spill the tea if you're not there listening to them to spill the tea. Like, who cares if, like this, I don't do that on my channel. I just do hair and I talk about, like, current events. I'm not, like, I hate that sort of thing. I don't like it. It makes me feel gross. So I just hope that whether it's digitally or in real life, if you're more of an introverted person like me, you just focus on yourself more and you don't need to give energy and time to people that want to create that negativity space. You can be positive online and you can be positive offline. because I know sometimes people are like, I need to get off the internet. And I'm like, I don't know. I see a lot of negative things off the internet too. I don't think necessarily, I think it's more like who you align yourself with than where you're aligning yourself, you know? Anyway, those are my thoughts. Thanks for watching.